Hello again from my front porch, where it is actually a not so bad day here in Iowa. It looks like the snow is rapidly melting away, at least for now. Hopefully it stays away. We'll probably get more before it's done, but I can actually see parts of my yard again, so that's a pleasant thing. But what I wanted to chat about today was the concept of boys and their toys, and actually it's probably not even boys. It's kids in general. I'm just focusing on boys because hello. But see, here's the thing. If you're like me, you went through a period of time growing up where you decide I need to shed the traits of my childhood because I'm expected to be an adult now. I'm growing up. I got to be mature. I got to put away childish things, and move on into adulthood. There is truth to that, especially in terms of mentalities and things like that. But I want to address this concept of getting rid of childish toys because I did a lot of that. I used to have a whole lot of stuff that I still kind of wish that I did. I mean, I was first generation Star Wars fan, and I won't say that I had every action figure, but I had a lot of them. And I had ships, and I had play sets, the whole big Death Star thing, the big Millennium Falcon. I had cases. They were in the Darth Vader shaped head case that stuff went in. But I had all of this kind of stuff that I would play with, and I took good care of my stuff too. Now I didn't keep the boxes and packaging for everything, but all of the action figures came with weapons or little thing. All of them, all of it still had that. And then there came a point where, for various reasons, I decided that, well, yeah, okay, well, I needed to get rid of all that stuff. Oh, so stupid, because now I walk around through antique malls, or craft shows at just regular malls or places like that, and I see these action figures that are in not such great shape that are selling for big money. There's a lot of value there, and I used to have $6 Million Man. For those of you that are too young, it was a TV show about an astronaut who got greatly injured in a crash, and they decided to add bionic things, these nuclear powered arm and legs, and he had his eye, and he was able to do all this stuff. But then they had him going out and doing missions, kind of like a super powered secret agent kind of thing. And the show started with really great intention, and it got kind of goofier as it went along, a little more campy, but still, it was a good show. But I had the $6 Million Man, a couple of versions of the $6 Million Man, because they made him with different features and different things about him. I had the bionic Bigfoot that he battled, the plate that came off his chest. He lifted him up. I had Oscar Goldman in his exploding suitcase. If you tried to open it wrong, it would just explode, as opposed to, and then it looked like it was all damaged inside. But if you opened it the right way, it would open up, and there actually were files and things inside the case. I had the rocket ship that Steve Austin could fly in, but also it was his bionic repair bed where he'd lay in all the pieces. There were lots of pieces that came with that, and just all Jamie Summers, the Bionic Woman had all of that stuff, and got rid of it all. And again, that stuff I now see at these places selling for big money, and I'm like, oh man. But it's not even just the money. It's not even the get rich. It's there's the sentimental value that goes along with these kind of things, and the memories that you remember having the fun with those things. And at some point, as we start to mature, as we start to grow up, we for whatever reason, we feel like we have to discard that part of us. That's how you grow up, by basically rejecting your childhood. And increasingly, as I'm now growing older, I'm finding that's stupid. That just really makes no sense. And in fact, my parents will still tell stories about some of the crazy, insane things that I did when I was a little kid. Things that I would never even dream of doing now, because I would be too paranoid about getting injured or getting hurt or causing damage to something. But at the time, I was completely carefree as a child and stupid and was willing to take risks, but I was having a ball. Now, fortunately, I'm still alive too. So I'm not saying you go completely to that, but there's a part of me that feels like, I think I lost a little bit of Paul somewhere along the way. That Paul used to be this really adventurous, thrill-seeking, well, I don't even know if it was thrill-seeking. It just was, not worried about, the what ifs, but just push ahead. And kind of wonder what I'd be like today if I had still a little more of that aspect to me. But somewhere along the way, that characteristic got pushed aside. But the reason I mention this, and the reason I was saying this is episodes about boys and their toys, is because thanks to the beauty of the thing known as eBay, I have slowly been recreating or reestablishing the things that from my childhood. Now, behind me is my latest acquisition I'm very proud of, actually. And ironically, it's one that I never had as a child. And if you're old enough to remember, or if you're a sci-fi fan and so you've looked up, there was a TV show on called Space 1999. It was from the 60s, the late 60s, and it was all about Earth having created a moon base Alpha on the moon, and that there is this disaster that causes the moon to then break orbit from the Earth and go spiraling out into space, all floating on its own, because it has no engines, no boosters on the moon. There's no way to navigate the moon, so it just floats to wherever it's going to float to. So that's the concept. Now you can poke holes in it all you want. You can say, well, it would have never left the universe. It would have got snagged up by one of the other larger bodies in our solar system and sucked in by its gravitational pull. Yeah, if you want to get into the actual science, you ruin all the fun. So shut up. But so here's Moonbase Alpha floating off out into space, into places unknown. It's lost in space, but based on the moon. They never really deal with what happens back on Earth because we lose our moon. But it's a whole nother series. And so Moonbase Alpha flies off into the great unknown, and there's TV series about their adventures and what happens. Well, of course, they can't just be on the moon. They have these ships that are like cargo and transport ships, and they use these ships then to as the Moonbase Alpha comes within proximity of some other planet out there, they're able to then get in the ships and fly to these other places, because they didn't have the Star Trek transporter beam and all that kind of stuff. And so what you see behind me here, this is one of the Moonbase Alpha Eagles, they called them. This was the ship. This is my most recent acquisition on eBay. And there was a point in my childhood where I actually had one of these on layaway at a department store in Carroll called Cernet's. And I don't remember how much it was, but specifically, but at the time it was way more than I could afford to pay. And so I remember making, because I had a paper route, and I remember making a few payments on it, probably just 2 or 3, I don't know, and then regrettably not throwing in the towel and admitting that I couldn't continue it. They probably forced me to. I probably wasn't making regular payments, kind of thing. But so I wasn't able to get it. And so it's one of those missed things from childhood that I've always wanted ever since. Well, these now are on eBay. You can find them on eBay in various conditions. This one's not pristine. It's not the finest condition. You can see it's got blemishes, but it does have the stuff inside. Well, a lot of the stuff inside, and it's for the most part intact. Now it and its box here, you can see the box here. They clearly show age. They clearly show worn, but I'm okay with that, because it's like as if it had been mine. If I had actually been able to acquire it, this might be what it looks like today, my own. Now, it probably would be in a little better condition because, like I said, I did take really good care of my toys and those kind of things. But I mean, it's been played with, and that's what you would expect. And so I was very pleased with that. Now, as far as what I had to pay to get that thing, I probably paid I don't know. Again, without remembering exactly what it cost back in the day, it's very possible that I paid up to 10 times what I would have paid back then. But now I haven't. And fortunately, this one came with, it has all the little action figures, and it has a lot of the accessory pieces, many of which that get lost over time. Not all of them are here, and so fortunately, eBay is going to help me out there too. And I will be fully completing this set here to get it fully back, whole, the whole deal, the whole eagle. But so anyway, I'm really, really excited that I have that now. So you say, well, then Paul, once you get it all fixed up, what are you going to do with it? I don't know. I just have it. Excuse me. Same thing applies to this. A while back, I acquired this. Now, truth be told, I had a couple of these back in the day, and I do still have at least one of those. One of them. Now, this is the Enterprise, but it all comes apart. It all let's see. Is there a? Well, you can kind of see here. You can make these different configurations of the ship because the pieces all come apart. The saucer section comes off. The nacelles come off. The arms that hold the nacelles come off. You got the ship, and so you can rearrange and you can reattach and recreate it into being all kinds of other different configurations of the ship. And then it's got this electronic thing here where you turn this little red dial and it would make sounds of the ship. And so I had a lot of fun with these. Now, one of them, the sound thing stopped working, and so I actually decided after, what was it, Star Trek 3? Yeah, Star Trek. Yeah, I think it was Star Trek 3 where they blew up the ship in the search for Spock. I actually decided to then take the one that the sound thing stopped working, and I made it a damaged and almost destroyed Enterprise, and so I had a battle damaged one, and that I did intentionally mess up and mark up and paint up and stuff in that way. That one, sadly, I don't seem to have anymore. I don't know where that is, but I did recently stumble across my one. The reason I have that is because I thought I'd gotten rid of both of them. I couldn't find them, and for a long time I looked and I couldn't find this specific thing. There were lots of Starship Enterprise kits and toys and models out there, but this specific one where you could take it apart and rebuild it and put it into something, I couldn't find that one. Well, then this one pops up on eBay, so boom, now it's mine. And what's great about this, I'm glad I have my other one that is all available to be played with or displayed or set up, whatever, because I got this one with that in mind, but then I get it and it's still sealed. It's never been opened, and so I'm like, maybe this one just stays like it is. And then there's other things where it's like I get stuff in stages. This is one that I did used to have one of, and I got rid of, and I feel bad about that. But the Knight Rider car kit, complete with Michael Knight figure in there. Unfortunately, this one's missing its doors, so I still have to track down the doors to put back on it. And then I have to figure out how to fix the voice thing, because it's got this license plate back here you can pull down, and yeah, it's all dead now. But it used to be you pull that down and you would hear Kit's voice, and he would say different things. But I mean, even if I pull Michael out, you'll see inside the car, he's got the dashboard in there and everything, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I had my own, had a lot of fun with it, and then again, like the other stuff, it got tossed away. And it's not just the monetary value of things. Although whoever sold me this, they made some money, because I don't know how much they paid for it. They may have got it as a kid as well, just like I had done, or they may have picked it up at someone's random garage sale, or one of those kind of great finds that you come across. But point is, I paid a lot of money for that, and they made a lot of money, and so there is money to potentially be made. But I'm not just being cynical and greedy about this. What I'm really trying to instill here is, if you've got parents, grandparents, you got kids with toys, they don't keep every toy. That's excessive. But you can tell the ones that seem to really connect with them. It's like I was talking about with the $6 Million Man stuff, or the Star Wars stuff. That I was almost obsessive in trying to get every part of that, every piece, every element of that. Well, obviously those were toys that meant something to me, that I really really liked, and you know, I never should have got rid of, because they did mean that much to me. And so as adults, if you still got some stuff and you're debating whether to get rid of, or you've got kids who are struggling with, well, you know, they've got too much stuff, do they, you know, look at where they really focus their attention. Not everything they have, but look at where they really focus their attention. And you know, even if they feel like, oh, I've outgrown that, I want to get rid of that. Okay, well, help them out. Put those things into nice sealed tubs so that it stays in good condition, and store it for them. Because there will probably be a time, it might be a long way down the road, but there will be a time when they're going to want to revisit that. When they're going to, when there's an element of their personality, of themselves, that was embodied by those toys. And they're either going to want to re-experience that themselves, or potentially share that experience with their own offspring that they now have. But once it's gone, you've given it away to somebody else, and you can't share that experience with them. And so just keep that in mind. Yeah, it is important to, you know, not let stuff clutter up, and to not have a whole lot of stuff just laying around randomly and causing issues. But by the same token, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, as the saying goes. Be mindful of what you're throwing out the door. Be mindful of what you're keeping. Be mindful of the memories that are embodied with these things. Because like even this guy here, this I just bought, I acquired. I never had one. However, I vividly remember so wanting it, having it on layaway. I mean, I've got a whole story that I can tell about this particular toy, even though I never even owned it. That's what I'm talking about. Something like this that represents that kind of such a strong memory, such a strong desire. This is for me an example of, you know, hey, you still can achieve the things that you've wanted in your life decades later. And it may cost you more, but you can still do it. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got for you. Just, as I said, a boy and his toys. I won't let you see the rest of the stuff in my house and in my basement and stuff where I've got other things. Maybe some other time. But with that, I'll let you go, and I'll see y'all next time from my front porch.